Are you one of those people that start a goal? Let's say going to the gym, trying to slim up. Maybe you want to learn a language. Maybe you want to have some diploma, anything. But then you kind of like fizzle out. The passion is just over after maybe a month or maybe even 3 days. And you keep on trying and trying and trying. It's not happening to you. See, the thing is, I say you cannot bulldoze yourself into success. You can't. And so what happens? You're disappointed in yourself, and definitely that's not only stressing you out, you probably all burn out because you were stressing out so much, but also it makes you feel like a loser, and you obviously don't want to be there, right? So in this video, I will share 3 tips that you can use to be successful finally with whatever you're doing, accomplish those goals this time. And I also will explain to you why are you struggling with accomplishing those goals, and I'll get into details and examples that you can use it in your daily life to turn that around. Are you ready now? Number 1, you need to break it down, that big goal, into smaller pieces. You probably heard this before, and now you can tell me, I already heard this, tell me something new. I get it, but number 1, have you done it? When you have a big goal, cut it in smaller pieces, and that smaller piece into smaller pieces. And if you have a plan written down, what you need to do one day at a time, and then focus only on one thing at a time, you will be more successful than not having this cut in small pieces. Because when you look at the big thing, it can be very daunting. Like, for example, let's say you want to write a book. When you think about it, it's like, wow, book is going to take me forever. I need to write so many pages. But if you put it in the chapters and then you put it, well, I'm just going to write 1 page a day, it is possible for you to do this. But the problem arises here is like, oh yeah, this is great. I can totally do this. But you can't, because what happens? You don't trust yourself, number 1, because you obviously failed in other things. And it could be that has to do a lot with the environment that you grew up in. And if you that kind of person that maybe failed once, maybe twice, and then the people around you start telling you that you're a loser, you never finish things, you kind of took on that identity, And then even if you start something, you already kind of know that, well, I'm a loser, I'm not going to finish anyway. I'll start, but I'm probably not going to make it this time. Why? It's like, why would you talk so badly about yourself? Because you see, we belong to the group of people in order to survive. So if somebody will assign to you an identity, you want to keep that. Because if you will not people please them, if you disappoint them, being a child, you depend on those people. So that's mean if they disappoint in you, then they kick you out. They stop feeding you and hence you die. I know it sounds gloomy, but that's how it works. You need other people. So you need to ask yourself, what identity are you carrying around and approaching anything that you do in life? What identity is really approaching that new goal of yours that decides to go to the gym or learn a language, or go to college or whatever? If you see that identity was not really successful in the past, maybe it's time to change that. Because you see, we grow. That's mean you can change, right? You probably know some people in your life that maybe they look like a total losers, and then they turn out to be like, wow, look at this, they're doing great. Or the opposite, it looks like, and I know my story. In school, we had few kids in the class that teachers loved them because they were like the greatest. They had great grades and they were always on time. Like they were perfect students. And teachers, and obviously us, our classmates, we were thinking that they will grow up and become these amazing people with business and successful. Oh, no, they didn't. Nah. And those other kids, they don't show up to classes on time. They grades are very low, troublemakers, and the teachers already wrote those down, and they're like, oh yeah, they like total losers. Nothing's gonna come out of them. Now they're very successful and very happy people. So this is just proves that you definitely can change who you are, and you can change your life. And you're probably now telling me, Well, duh, that's why I have goals. That's why I want to achieve something, because I'm not happy where I am right now. I get it. But if you will approach your new goals with the old goal setting, or set a mind, your mindset, what I'm trying to say, you may not happen. So what's important for you is to really pay attention. How do you talk to yourself? What is it you do now differently when you're approaching your goals when you used to? Because you see, the same mind that created the problem cannot solve the problem. Or if you continuously do the same thing, you cannot expect different results, because hence that is insanity. So that's mean you need to approach those things differently, and it all starts with your mindset. So when you're cutting things in pieces, when you're looking at the big plan and you're already laying out how you're going to approach this and tackle this big goal, ask yourself how that makes you feel. What is it you're thinking? If you think I'm not going to make this, or I'm going to push myself into something, it may not work. You have to have other things and other elements in your this whole process to make you feel successful. That's how we're approaching the second tip that I have to tell you. Stop with perfectionism. Okay? When you're already starting this process, you need to remember not to abandon yourself. And what do I mean by that? Be like, "Ah, I'm making this goal possible. I'm not abandoning myself. I'm doing this, right?" You see, going back to what I said before, if you grew up in an environment where you think that you are a loser, you will do everything to please those other people, so they will keep you around. This means you will abandon anything that's working in your favor in order to please them. So you can abandon your own values, you can abandon your own goals, you can abandon anything in your life if it has to do with your safety. And that's where the loyalty comes into place. Because if, and you probably heard those stories that they say, well, if a child grew up in the poor family, they probably will be poor. If a child was in a rich family, they probably will be rich. Because it's all about the set of that mindset, right? Is that you are going to be exactly the same as your parents were, or your grandparents were, or your community, or whatever group of people that you belong to, because of loyalty. Yeah, about the same thing, that you want to belong to the group. It makes you feel safe. So naturally, you're not going to work against your own safety, right? So at the end, you will maybe be choosing to lose in the situation instead of winning it. So you will not be abandoned. That's something to ponder. But I start saying that the second thing is focusing on the progress, not perfection, and you start with the empathy. You starting not abandoning yourself and realizing what are your needs. You know that you're doing this for yourself, and allow yourself and give permission to actually stray away from people pleasing and thinking differently than the environment that you came from. It could be a little bit tricky, and you may be afraid, and it takes courage to tell yourself that you're done with this loyalty and now you're going to be loyal to yourself instead of other people. Yes, it's very triggering for some, but you have to go with this. It's not like you totally breaking loyalty and now you will never speak to them again. No, I'm talking about you breaking up with that loyalty, with the identity that other people maybe were looking at you, with the identity that you thought that you should be. You have to change some things in your life to actually see different processes happening in your life and taking different action, so you can see the results are very different than it used to be. That's how you can achieve your goals, especially if you were very bad on achieving goals in the past. And the perfectionism could be another very bad thing, especially if you grew up in an environment where you didn't feel loved and appreciated and seen for who you are. You may think that you need to be perfect. So when you start a goal, let's say you decide you want to lose some weight, and well, the weight is just not coming off, you can get very fast disappointed and then tell yourself, okay, well, I failed here, so I'm not even gonna go on with this goal. I already declared that I lost, and that's that. Well, you shouldn't be giving up on that, right? That easily. But if you've been taught to give up easily before and it's serving you, you will continue doing that. Perfectionism is another thing that will not help you to win anything. And perfectionism actually happens when you were not loved and seen and appreciated when you were a child for who you were, and you felt like you need to be useful and prove your worth, that, they should not be discarding you because you are doing something great. And then you try to please them more and you try to be better and faster and, running towards horizon. So it may look to you like you need to accomplish big goals. You need to have this grandeur, and then maybe you will be loved and appreciated and seen. But as you know, that doesn't work that way. So if you're looking already into this process and you already break it down all these pieces and you're already ready for the perfection and you're going to do this time perfectly, that's not the way to do it. You need to start with giving yourself permission to fail if you want to. Give yourself permission to do it not perfectly if you want to. Your goal is to stick with that goal day in and out, no matter what. Or you cannot do one day or two. If you don't feel like it, you're sick, you don't feel emotionally like doing something. And I tell you, there were plenty of times when I was about to go to gym, but it didn't feel good. And I was like, no, I have a coach, I need to show up, I need to do all those things. But if I'm not feeling good, if I will go and force myself to do something, that means I am abandoning myself. I'm abandoning my own needs. So how am I different from my abusive parents who were pushing me into doing things? I'm not different at all. So why would I not love myself? Because you see, if you will push yourself into doing something every single day that when you even hate it, you will be more resentful towards yourself. There's no way you're going to accomplish this goal. Even if you will accomplish that goal, you're going to hate it all the way. How many times do you know people who go to school, they get the degree, whatever their parents tell them to, or they believe that this is going to make them happy, and it didn't, and they resented that, and they went on and did totally different. I know plenty of people like that. So ask yourself, when you start that new goal, is it really yours? What is it you do every single day to help yourself to stick with that goal? And here's the third piece to this puzzle, how to actually make those goals happen to you. You have to celebrate yourself. And you need to do this for you, not for anybody else, not for approval, not for your parents, not for your bosses, not for your spouses and all of that. You do this for you. You may have a big problem, and it may even trigger you right now when I'm telling you this. Because, again, for the same reason, if you're afraid that you will be discarded and not loved and appreciated, and you need to have this grandeur, this big goal accomplished, you may have even difficulty of doing anything that has to do with your joy and your happiness. Also, we've been taught in the society that we're supposed to sacrifice ourselves and we always need to do something that pleases other people. But how does that end? Nowhere. We already know this. So you have to pick something that you really love doing it. And especially that has to do with businesses. Did you hear this saying that, well, if you do something that you love, you will never work a day in your life? Or follow your dream, follow your passion, and the money will follow you. Exactly. But if you feel guilty of not doing what you love, that is failing already. Because you cannot bulldoze yourself into success, as I said. You will resent yourself, you abandon yourself, and you will end up sick, burnout, stressed out. But let's say you want to achieve something that finally you know that's yours. You have to celebrate yourself. You have to reward yourself. So when you already have this goal, you cut it in smaller pieces, assign some milestones there, right? You say, okay, maybe if you're writing a book, let's say after every chapter, when I finish a chapter, I'll give myself a treat. When I say this, did that trigger you? Because you see, if you grew up in an environment where you've been not celebrated for who you are, you will not celebrate it for your successes, you will be not that happy with giving yourself treats. You may even say, what treats? I haven't even wrote the book yet, and I'm going to give myself treats after every chapter. Yes. Ask yourself why you have a difficulty on celebrating yourself. It could be also that maybe you grew up in an environment where you were even punished for your successes. Yeah, that could be another reason why you're not succeeding and why you're not finishing off what you start. And that's why you're not successful in your goals. Procrastination, it's your safety mechanism. Because if you've been punished for your accomplishments, or let's say you had a sibling that was not doing that well as you were, maybe your parents said, don't do this, let them win, to make them feel better. So now you procrastinate because you know you don't want to even finish. You don't even want to have that thing because it may be taken away from you. You may be excluded from the group. You may be laughed at. There are all of those reasons. That's why celebrating yourself and acknowledging for who you are, what you do well, why you like doing, what will accomplish this, if how that will make you feel when you accomplish this goal. That will make you happy. Look at what the result and your happiness. And remember, when you're happy, you will make other people happy. When you're healthy, then you can help other people to be healthy. Self-love is really when you are so full that you can give everybody else. And you can now bulldoze yourself into success. And you shouldn't. So, I hope that helped. Leave me a comment below. Did any of those resonate with you? If you're still watching, please like my channel, subscribe it, like the video, and send this video to someone that needs help. And if you're struggling with stress management and need some help, I'm here for you. Go to my website, Be Amazing You, and book a session with me.